I never thought I'd wake up in my babysitter's body, staring at my own face twisted in smug satisfaction across the breakfast table. But there I was, choking on cereal that tasted like betrayal. The man who'd raised me, my dad, the unbreakable Marine vet, grabbed my new, fragile wrist and growled, "Selena, if you're staying in this house, you fight dirty, because they already have." And just like that, the girl I'd trusted like a sister had stolen my life, framing me for embezzlement that could have landed me in federal prison, all to climb the ladder in our family's cutthroat real estate empire, proving that blood doesn't mean loyalty. It just means you bleed harder when they cut you. It started 5 years ago, back when I was 22, fresh out of NYU with a business degree that felt like a ticket to the American dream, or at least to not scraping by in Dad's shadow forever. Our family ran Vanguard Properties, a beast of a company that turned Rust Belt ghost towns into glossy McMansion suburbs across the Midwest.
Dad.
Harlan Hank Whitaker built it from nothing after Nom, boots-on-the-ground grit mixed with backroom deals that made regulators look the other way. He was the king of controversial, rezoning sacred indigenous lands for strip malls, evicting families during the '08 crash with a smile and a market forces kiddo shrug. I idolized him, even as the ethics classes in college made my stomach twist. But family was family, right? That's what I told myself when I came home to Detroit, ready to prove I wasn't just the pretty little add-on to his throne. Enter Mia.
God. Mia.
She'd been our babysitter since I was 8, some exchange student from a nowhere town in Ohio, with that wide-eyed Midwestern charm that screamed harmless. By the time I was in high school, she was more sister than sitter, crashing on our couch during college breaks, sharing secrets over stolen sips of Dad's bourbon. "You're the real heir, Selena," she'd whisper, braiding my hair while we plotted how I'd shake up Vanguard. Make it green, ethical, a force for good in this dog-eat-dog world. She was the one who pushed me to intern at the firm, who covered for me when I snuck out to protests against one of Dad's pipeline deals. Deep down, I knew she envied me the name, the connections, but envy between girls like us? It was just girl talk. Fuel for late-night rants about the patriarchy. The betrayal hit like a freight train on a foggy I-75 stretch. It was a Tuesday in July, humidity thick as guilt, when the FBI raided our headquarters. Suits swarming the glass tower downtown, cuffing execs left and right for a $12 million slush fund skimmed off federal housing grants. Dad's face on every local news channel, stone cold, denying it all. But the evidence? Ironclad emails, forged ledgers, my digital signature, all over the damn thing.
Me?
The wide-eyed intern who'd barely touched the accounting software. Corporate espionage, Dad called it in the boardroom huddle. But his eyes said scapegoat. Mia was there, too, promoted to junior VP just months prior. Her brilliant ideas on cost-cutting that now looked like a smokescreen. She hugged me tight that night, tears streaming. "This can't be you. Sell. We'll fix it."
Lies.
All of it. They pinned it on me because I was the perfect fall guy. Young, ambitious, no real power to fight back. Dad's lawyers twisted the narrative, said I was bitter about being overlooked, cooking the books to sell secrets to a rival firm in Chicago. The buried secret? It wasn't embezzlement. It was Mia's doing. Siphoning funds to bankroll her own startup. A shady app for discreet evictions that targeted low-income renters with AI-driven harassment. But she covered her tracks with my access codes, stolen during one of our sisterly sleepovers. And Dad? He knew. Whispers in the den late at night. His gravelly voice. Let the kid take the heat.
Mia.
Builds character. He'd groomed her as the real successor, seeing in her that ruthless edge I lacked, the willingness to burn bridges for the win.
Me?
I was the pretty face for diversity quotas, the one who'd humanize the brand at galas. Prison was hell, but not the kind Hollywood glamorizes. Federal lockup in Milan, Michigan, 80 miles from home, close enough for family visits that never came. 6 months pre-trial, then a plea deal to 2 years because Dad's influence shaved off the max. Cell block drama, the cliques of white-collar witches trading insider tips like contraband cigs. The guards with wandering eyes who saw every woman as a mark. I learned to fight there, not with fists, but words, alliances, the slow grind of reading law books under fluorescent buzz till my eyes bled. That's when the dream started. Vivid, feverish flashes of Mia in my body, strutting into board meetings, my curves filling out her power suits, while I withered in orange jumpsuits. Switch, they'd whisper in my sleep, a voice like crackling static, ancient and electric. I chalked it up to trauma, the kind shrinks bill $200 an hour for. Parole came early, good behavior, plus a anonymous donation to the warden's pet project, courtesy of Dad's Rolodex. Out in 18 months. Hollowed out. Tattooed with regrets. Detroit welcomed me back with open arms and closed doors. No job offers. Credit frozen. Neighbors crossing streets like I'd brought the plague home. Dad's mansion in Grosse Pointe, that white-columned monstrosity on Lake St. Claire loomed like a tombstone. I showed up unannounced. Duffel slung over my shoulder. The girl who'd once begged for curfews, now demanding a room. Mia answered the door. My old sundress hugging her frame. My hair in loose waves. Selena, she cooed. Voice pitched just like mine. We thought you'd call.
We.
As if she belonged. Inside. The air reeked of polished oak and unspoken sins. Dad was in his leather armchair. Scotch in hand. Eyes like chipped flint. Sit, he barked, not looking up from the Wall Street Journal. Mia perched on the armrest. Her hand, my hand, trailing his shoulder. That's when the warning dropped. Live here only if you can fight.
Kid.
This ain't the big house. It's worse. Fight what? The ghosts? The headline still calling me, Whitaker heiress turned felon? But his gaze flicked to Mia, and I saw it, the complicity, the pact sealed in my absence. She'd been betting him, hadn't she? Whispers from the staff, the new Mrs. Whitaker in waiting, incestuous rot, dressed up as legacy. My stomach churned. This was America, baby, where power fucks its own to keep the throne warm. I took the guest room on the 3rd floor, the one with the creaky turret overlooking the lake, because anywhere else felt like surrender. Nights blurred into reconnaissance, eavesdropping on their pillow talk through vents. Hacking Dad's ancient desktop with skills picked up from a cellmate who'd done time for cyber fraud. Mia's emails were a goldmine, deals with Russian oligarchs laundering money through Vanguard flips. Photos of her schmoozing senators at Mar-a-Lago fundraisers. She was building an empire on my ruins. And Dad? He was the architect, covering her tracks with shell companies he'd buried deeper than his war stories. The switch happened on a lightning-cracked Halloween, 6 weeks after my release. I'd found the artifact in the attic, a tarnished locket from Dad's mother, engraved with runes that looked like chicken scratch, but hummed with something otherworldly when I touched it. Grandma Whitaker had been eccentric, Dad said, dabbling in hoodoo from her Louisiana roots before the family scrubbed it clean for WASP respectability. The dreams had led me there. Wear it at midnight. Mirror to mirror. Name the thief. Desperation makes believers of us all. I stood in the guest bath, locket cold against my throat, chanting Mia's name into the fogged glass while thunder rattled the windows. Nothing. Then agony, like veins on fire, the world inverting. I blacked out to the sound of her scream echoing mine. Woke up gasping in silk sheets. My body, the real one, wrapped around a pillow that smelled of her cheap lavender lotion. Heart slamming, I bolted to the mirror. Selena stared back, green eyes wide. No prison ink on these flawless arms. Down the hall, pounding on her door, no, my old door. She answered, wild-eyed in my tattooed skin, the locket dangling from her neck like a noose. "What the fuck did you do?" she hissed, voice cracking in my timbre. I grabbed her, by the throat, slamming the door. "Gave you a taste of the hell you built." The switch was real. Courtesy of some family curse Dad had hidden. A gift from bloodlines tangled in voodoo and vengeance. Mia had known. That's why she'd pushed me toward the attic stories as kids. Priming the pump. From there, the revenge uncoiled like a spring-loaded trap. Every step laced with the kind of moral rot that keeps therapists in business. First, I played the part. Selena 2.0. The prodigal daughter reformed. Charming the board at Vanguard's holiday gala in a red sheath that hugged my curves like a second skin. Toast to redemption. Dad's proud nod, while I slipped a USB into the server room, uploading Mia's slush fund proof to an anonymous leak site. By morning, headlines screamed, Vanguard VP in embezzlement probe, her face, my face, plastered across the. Controversial? Hell yes. I was gaslighting the world into thinking my own body was the crook, blurring lines between victim and villain in ways that'd make ethics profs weep. But Mia fought back, cunning as a fox in a henhouse. She rallied Dad, spinning tales of my instability, the switch a hallucination from re-entry trauma. He bought it hook, line, and sinker, dragged me to shrinks, threatened to cut me off unless I straightened up. Their alliance deepened, late-night strategy sessions where she'd whisper in his ear, her hand on his knee, plotting to reverse the curse with some black market shaman Dad kept on retainer. I overheard it all, seething in the shadows. The betrayal cut deepest there, not just the frame job, but the incest, the way she'd wormed into our bed like a parasite, all to secure her spot. Dad wasn't just complicit. He was the monster, sacrificing his daughter for a tighter grip on the empire. My decisions got uglier. Decision 1. Seduce the family lawyer, a silver fox sleaze who'd always eyed me at barbecues. In my own skin, it was easy, flirt over bourbon at the yacht club, coax confessions about Dad's offshore accounts. Controversial as hell, using my body like a weapon, crossing into revenge porn territory without the tape. But it yielded docs proving Dad's war crimes cover-up, smuggling heroin back from Nam, funding Vanguard's seed money. I leaked those too, anonymously, watching his stock plummet on Bloomberg. The board whispered mutiny. Investors fled like rats from a sinking Detroit auto plant. Decision 2. Target Mia's allies. Those ladder-climbing VPs who'd toasted her rise. I hosted reconciliation dinners at the mansion, lacing the wine with just enough GHB to loosen tongues and black out memories, non-lethal. But the kind of gray area shit that'd get you canceled on Twitter. Confessions poured, who'd fudged audits, who'd bedded interns for promotions. I recorded it all, drip-feeding to the feds via a burner. The empire cracked. lawsuits piling like snow in a Michigan winter. Mia cornered me in the kitchen one night, eyes blazing in my face. "You're destroying us. You bitch." This was supposed to be Mercy, a clean slate. Mercy? She'd stolen my life, fucked my dad, left me to rot. Mercy, I spat, is for people who don't deserve the air they breathe. The tension built like a pressure cooker. Every family dinner a minefield. Dad's warnings turned to threats. Fight fair. Selena. Or get out. Fair? In America. Fair is for suckers. I escalated. Hired PIs to tail Mia's secret lover. A rival CEO from Chicago. Catching them in a lakeside motel. Blackmail photos sent to his wife. A senator's daughter. The fallout torpedoed a merger that could have saved Vanguard. Controversial? Absolutely, wrecking innocence in the crossfire. Turning love into leverage. But power's a drug. And I was hooked. The curse amplifying it all. My reflection in mirrors sometimes flickering to her panicked stare. Climax hit on New Year's Eve. The mansion ablaze with chandeliers and champagne flutes. A-listers toasting the Whittaker resurgence. I'd rigged the show. Hacked the sound system to blast audio of Mia's confession, her voice in my body. Admitting the frame. The affair. The curse ritual she'd botched to bind it permanent. Chaos erupted. Gasps. Shattered glass. Dad's face purpling as feds crashed the party. Badges flashing like paparazzi bulbs. Mia lunged at me, claws out, but I sidestepped, letting her crash into the ice sculpture, symbolic, her empire melting in real time. "You did this," she shrieked. Blood trickling from a shallow cut, no gore. Just the sting. I leaned in, whispering, "Welcome to my world, thief." Dad watched. Broken. The king dethroned by his own pawn. Handcuffs clicked. Arrests made. Vanguard dissolved overnight. Assets seized. The American dream gutted like a rusting factory. I stood on the lakeside porch as dawn broke. Free but fractured. The locket heavy around my neck. Victory tasted like ash had I become the monster? The headlines debated it. Heiress's revenge. Justice or vendetta? Then the twist. The gut punch reversal that still haunts my nights. In the evidence hall, buried under layers of redacted files, was the truth. I hadn't been framed clean. Dad's old ledger showed I'd signed off on the first skim, $50K to bail out my ex's gambling debts. Buried in housing grants because I was desperate, ashamed. Mia found out, confronted me. I begged her to help cover it. She did. At first, fiddled the books to mask it. But when the feds closed in, she flipped the script, amplifying it to $12 million, pinning the whole mess on me to protect the family name. And Dad? He chose her because she confessed everything, my screw-up included, offering to take the fall if he backed her rise. The betrayal was mutual. I'd started the fire. She'd poured the gasoline. The curse? It wasn't voodoo, it was an experimental neural implant Dad funded through Vanguard, a black ops tech for identity transfer to evade justice, tested on me in prison as therapy. Mia stole the trigger code. But the switch was reversible. A glitch in the matrix of our making. Ending? Call it tragic poetry. I vanished to New Orleans, chasing Grandma's hoodoo roots. The locket my only anchor. Dad died in disgrace. Heart attack in a halfway house. Mia got 10 years. Her appeals drowned in scandal.
Me?
I fight on, consulting for whistleblowers. Exposing corporate vipers from the shadows. Happy? In a country built on second chances and sucker punches. Maybe. Or maybe it's just the long con. waiting for the next thief to knock. Live here only if you can fight? Damn right. But now I know, the real war's inside. And surrender's the only win that sticks. The fog rolling off Lake St. Claire that January morning after the gala felt like a shroud, muffling the sirens as they hauled Mia away in my skin, her curses bouncing off the marble foyer like bad echoes. I stood there in the ruins of our empire, barefoot on cold slate, clutching a champagne flute that tasted like vinegar victory. Dad slumped against the grand piano, his marine frame deflated, eyes hollow as the empty safe in his study. "You happy now?" "Selena," he rasped, voice raw from shouting down the reporters who'd swarmed the gates like locusts. "Happy?" The word dissolved on my tongue. I'd clawed back my life, but the scars, prison tats inked on my soul, itched like fresh wounds. Rebuilding started small.
Gritty.
The American way, bootstraps laced with spite. I sold off what assets the feds hadn't seized, the Bentley Dad bought for my 21st, the loft in Midtown I'd never lived in, to fund a PO box existence in a Cass corridor walk-up, where hipsters sipped $7 lattes amid boarded-up soul food joints. No more Grosse Pointe polish. This was Detroit raw, the pulse of Motown resilience beating under layers of decay. I took gigs as a compliance consultant, auditing small firms for ethical landmines. My rep as the fallen Whitaker, a double-edged sword, doors slammed, but the desperate ones cracked open, hungry for my insider dirt. Nights were the killer. The switch lingered, neural echoes firing like bad acid trips, waking in sweats, convinced I was back in Milan, orange jumpsuit chafing, or worse, trapped in Mia's body again, her insecurities buzzing like flies in my skull. Therapy?
Ha.
I tried a VA shrink Dad's insurance still covered. But PTSD with dissociative features didn't cover the curse's glitch. The implant scar hidden under hairline at my nape, a tiny port for the transfer. I'd researched it in stolen library hours, DARPA funded, shelved after ethics boards balked at soul swapping for spies. Dad had revived it through Vanguard slush, testing on low-level cons like me.
Mia,
the golden child, got the admin codes as a loyalty perk. Betrayals anatomy, she'd used it to ghostwrite my downfall, uploading my memories to frame the narrative. Flashbacks hit hardest during stakeouts. My first big client, a nonprofit fighting eminent domain abuse in Hamtramck, the little Poland of Detroit where minarets dotted the skyline like defiant middle fingers to urban sprawl. They suspected a developer, some ex-Vanguard exec named Harlan Jr., no relation but close enough to sting, of strong-arming halal markets for a casino flip. I tailed him in a rented Civic. Stakeout snacks of coney dogs turning to lead in my gut as memories overlapped. Me at 18. Protesting Dad's bulldozers. Mia at my side with signs reading, "Homes over hustle."
lies.
She'd fed him intel even then, trading my ideals for a foot in the door. The confrontation went south fast. Harlan Jr. spotted me in the rearview at a Tim Hortons drive-thru, his Escalade peeling out onto Gresham Avenue. I followed, heart jackhammering, the old fight instinct kicking in. He lost me in a snarl of potholes and semis, but not before sideswiping my bumper. Controversial decision point 2.0. I could have called it in, played victim again. Instead, I rammed him off the road into a snowbank, tires spinning like my unraveling morals. He climbed out raging, meaty fist balled. "Whitaker bitch thinks she's judge and jury?" I stepped out calm, implant humming, and whispered the magic words from Mia's emails, his offshore kickbacks to Albanian bookies. He froze, then crumpled, spilling docs that buried his operation. The nonprofit hailed me hero. I saw a vigilante, the line blurring till it vanished. Words spread in underground circles, whistleblower bars in Eastern Market, where ex-cops nursed IPAs and swapped war stories. I built a network, a hacker from Black Hat Cons, a journalist with scars from Murdoch's axe, even a disgraced priest from St. Aloysius who heard confessions from white-collar wolves. They called me the ghost auditor, slipping through firewalls like the curse let me slip skins. But power corrupts. Absolute or not, my decisions veered darker. Take Lena, Harlan Jr.'s assistant, the one who'd inked the evictions. Innocent? Maybe. But she'd partied with Mia post-raid. Selfies in my body toasting sisters in slime. I doxed her gently. LinkedIn flooded with her emails. Job offers evaporating overnight. Was it justice or jealousy? Punishing her for wearing my face in triumph? Debatable. Like arming rebels in a civil war you started. Dad reached out via a burner. His voice a ghost on voicemail. Come home.
Kid.
We talk. Home. The mansion was foreclosed. Ghosts rattling chains of regret. I went anyway, slipping past the chain-link fence under a harvest moon, the lake lapping like accusatory tongues. He waited on the dock, bundled in a peacoat that hung loose, oxygen tank hissing like a serpent. The truth, he started. No preamble. You weren't clean. Selena. That first skim, your ex. The debts. Mia covered. But when it blew, she turned it on you to save us all. My blood iced. The twist I'd glimpsed in the files. Now verbalized. A knife twist. I'd borne the crime. Yes, but it was mine. A mistake of youth, amplified by her malice. Why her? I demanded, voice cracking. He shrugged, eyes on the horizon. She fought for it. You ran to your protests, your morals. Empire needs wolves, not lambs. We fought that night, not fists, but words like shrapnel. He confessed the implant. Thought it'd fix you, transfer the weakness out, let you lead strong. Delusion, patriarchal poison. I left him there, the locket burning, vowing to dismantle every thread. Back in the city, Revenge 2.0, I infiltrated the Shaman Circle, a voodoo collective in the East Side's shadows, trading Vanguard secrets for reversal rights. They warned, switch back full, or it echoes forever, steal too much, lose yourself. Controversial? Inhaling sage smoke, chanting over chicken bones. I felt the pull, America's underbelly, where hoodoo meets Silicon Valley hacks. The echo hit during a sting on a Toledo slumlord, ex-partner of Dad's. I posed as a renter, sweet-talking my way into his ledger room. But mid-download, the glitch fired. Mia's memories flooded. Her glee at my sentencing, the taste of Dad's lips sealing the deal. I blacked out, waking to sirens, cops cuffing me for B.N.E. Her panic my shield. Bail was a joke. The judge recognized the name. Released on recognizance. But the leak stuck. His empire crumbled. Tenants vindicated. Was I Selena? Or the thief wearing her skin? Mirrors lied now. Eyes shifting hues in low light. Spring thawed the tension, but not the chill. A letter arrived, postmarked Milan Mia. From the inside, scrawled on commissary paper. You think you won? The implants keyed to blood, ours mixed in the ritual. Reverse it, and we both fry. Threat or truth? I tested it, pricking my finger over the port. Jolt like lightning, flashes of her cell, her plotting appeals with Dad's ghost lawyer. The reversal loomed. A high-stakes gamble, stay swapped. Live her half-life, or flip. Risk neural burnout. Souls scrambled like bad code. Decision 3. Visit her. The drive to Milan was a pilgrimage through cornfields and billboards hawking Jesus and casinos. Radio droning Trump rallies like yesterday's fever dream. She met me in the visitation room. My face gaunt. Tattoos faded but glaring. Fight me fair, she sneered, echoing Dad's warning.
Fair?
I slid a photo across. Her lover's wife. Suicidal post-blackmail.
A colateral de ignorat.
Her flinch was my hook. End it, I said. Trigger the reverse. Or I leak your kid, the one you hid. From that Chicago fling. Her eyes widened. The buried secret. Her Achilles. She'd borne a son in secret. Farmed out to Ohio kin. Leverage I'd unearthed in vengeance's dig. She agreed. Terms whispered. Mutual destruction. Empires equalized. The rite happened in a no-man's-land motel, off I-94. Shamans' herbs burning acrid. Locket bridging our wrists. Agony peaked. Bodies convulsing, then snap. I woke in my skin.
True.
Scars and all, she and hers. Diminished. But the twist deepened. In the flood. Her memory stuck. Her love for Dad twisted genuine. Her frame job born of fear I'd expose my own crime first. We'd both stolen. Both bled. Back in Detroit. The network thrived without me at the helm. I faded to advisor. Penning exposés under pseudonyms. The fight internalized. Dad's funeral was small. Rain lashed. Me scattering ashes in the lake. Forgiveness?
Nah.
Just closure. Mia's trial dragged. Her son the wild card in custody battles.
Me?
I live lean. Fighting shadows. The warning a mantra. Only if you can fight.
But now.
The question lingers, did I win? Or just swap cages? America debates it in bars and feeds. I debated in silence. The echo fading. But never gone. Summer scorched Detroit like a bad bet. Asphalt shimmering. The riverfront joggers gasping under humidity that clung like regret. 6 months post-rite. And the switch's aftershocks still rippled. Phantom itches where the implant port scarred over. Dreams where Mia's voice narrated my days like a bad director's cut. I'd moved to a loft in Corktown. Rehabbed firehouse vibes with exposed brick and a view of old Tiger Stadium ruins. A nod to glory days long faded. Rent paid in consulting fees. Life a rhythm of cold brews on stoops and midnight runs through Belle Isle's overgrown paths. Chasing ghosts I couldn't outpace. The network kept me tethered. Emails from the hacker kid. Now running his own cybersecurity co-op in Ferndale, invites to journalist mixers at Slow's Barbecue, where ribs sauced in irony masked the bitterness of bylines I'd ghosted. But vengeance's high fades fast, leaving a void wider than the MacArthur Bridge. I filled it with causes, pro bono audits for Flint water activists still battling the suits. Testifying incognito at City Council on predatory lending that echoed Vanguard sins. Controversial cred. The councilwoman, a firebrand from District 7, called me the Whitaker wolf turned sheepdog.
Cute.
Till the threat started, voicemails from block numbers. Fights not over. Traitor. Dad's old timbre synthesized via AI. Mia's shadow loomed largest. Her trial prep leaked via a mole in the U.S. Attorney's office. Insanity plea. Claiming the implant drove her mad. My revenge the trigger. Tabloids ate it up. Body snatcher heiress versus Curse con artist, with psych evals debating dissociative identity like it was Sybil fanfic. I got subpoenaed as witness. The drive to federal court in Bay City, a gauntlet of paparazzi drones buzzing like hornets. Facing her across the oak bar. She looked small, Ohio plainness reclaiming her features. But her eyes, sharp, unbowed, locked mine with a smirk that said, "Your move." Testimony was theater. American justice porn. Me in a tailored blazer. Voice steady as I unpacked the skim. The cover-up.
The switch.
She stole my life to bury her mistake, I said. The courtroom murmuring like a hive. Her lawyer countered with my own sins, the initial theft, the blackmail cascades, painting me vigilante, not victim. The judge. A grizzled Detroiter with Bears fan cufflinks. Sustained objections like punches. Outside. Protesters clashed, feminists chanting sisters in solidarity, pickets decrying elite voodoo BS. Debatable drama. Fueling podcasts from Joe Rogan knockoffs to NPR deep dives.
Me?
I felt exposed. The buried secret exhumed. I'd borne the crime. Yes. But her amplification made me the monster in mirrors. Post-trial. Acquittal on tech tampering. Implant deemed experimental fiction, but 5 years for fraud. She walked lighter. Appeal pending. Son in tow from Ohio. A towhead kid with my green eyes. The blood mix mocking us. She cornered me in the hall. Voice low. We could have ruled together.
Cell.
Blood's thicker. Thicker than the bars she'd brought behind? I laughed. Bitter. Blood's just the ink we sign our ruins with. But her words wormed. The twist's residue, her memories lingering. Flashes of genuine hurt. Dad's grooming her as the strong daughter he wished I'd been. Had I misread the betrayal?
Or just the depth?
Decision 4. Reach out to the kid. Controversial as adoption roulette. But empathy's a sneaky bitch. I tracked the aunt in Akron via public records. A chain-smoking RN with a double-wide and a minivan sticker reading, "Pray for Paris." Dropped by unannounced. Coffee in hand from a Tim Hortons run. Spinning a yarn about family history research.
The boy.
5 now. Named Elias, after Dad's middle. Eyed me wary. Thumb in mouth. My features a funhouse mirror. "You look like Mommy's Stories," he lisped. And my chest caved. We talked swing set swings and Spider-Man. Me fighting tears. Her jeans my curse's gift. Left with a crayon drawing. A stick figure family, with 3 heads, me, her, him, blurring lines I'd severed. Back home, the void yawned wider. I dove deeper into the implant's underbelly. FOIA requests to DARPA yielding redacted PDFs that hinted at broader trials, CEOs swapping for mergers, politicians dodging indictments. My network mobilized a symposium in Ann Arbor. Neural ethics in the heartland, me keynoting under alias Echo. Crowd packed, tech bros in hoodies, activists in keffiyehs. A smattering of spooks in the back row. I laid it bare. America's selling souls for stock ticks. Fight it. Or become the ghost. Q&A turned heated. Vigilantism's just karma with a keyboard. One prof snarled. Better than silence, a vet countered. Debatable fuel. My words igniting op-eds from the free press to Vice. But the threats escalated. Slashed tires on the Civic. Email swarms with implant schematics. Join or fry. Dad's old allies. Remnants of Vanguard's web. Circling like sharks scenting blood. I fought proactive, hired a fixer from the old neighborhood. A ex-con with brass knuckles and a moral code looser than my own. We traced it to a shell in Grand Rapids. A tech incubator laundering implant upgrades. Stakeout turned ambush. Me in the shadows of a craft brewery, nursing a Bell's Oberon. When goons rolled up, two meatheads in tactical vests. Tasers humming. Decision 5. Fight dirty? Dad's warning incarnate. I fainted left. Clocked the first with a bar stool. The second got a knee to the groin and a whispered, "Tell your boss, Selena sends echoes." Cops called it self-defense. The headlines, Whitaker Wildcat strikes again. Healing crept in sideways. A fling with the journalist, tall, cynical, with a laugh like gravel and a tattoo of the Motor City skyline, grounded me. Nights tangled in sheets scented with newsprint and hoppy IPA. Your storm. Sell, he'd murmur, tracing the port scar. Storm? Or wreckage? We debated it over diner hash at 3 a.m. America's undercurrents, how betrayals the national sport. From Watergate to Wall Street crashes. He pushed a book deal. Your story. Raw, but I balked. Exposure's a double tap. Autumn leaves turned the city to fire, mirroring the burn in my veins. Mia's appeal hearing loomed. Her lawyers subpoenaing the kid for mitigating testimony. I intervened. Anonymous affidavit, painting her the protector. Not predator, controversial mercy, or strategic play. The judge bought it. Shaving time to 3 years. Probation laced with therapy. She wrote thanks. Postscript. Fight smart. Not hard. Smart? In this skin. It felt like surrender. The network's big win, shutting an implant trial in Silicon Valley via leaked memos. Feds raiding labs under RICO. My fingerprints invisible, but the echo rang true. Winter whispered closure. Snow blanketing the loft like forgiveness unsought. I stood on the fire escape, locket in palm. Lake winds whipping, ready to bury it. Or wear it. The fight's eternal. Dad's voice a ghost. Only if you can. Can I? Damn straight.
But now.
It's for the living, the kid's future, the city's pulse. My reflection unfractured. Winter gripped Detroit like a grudge. Ice sheathing the Ambassador Bridge. Turning commutes to chess games with black ice and bitter winds howling off Canada. 8 months into fragile peace. And the implant's hum had dulled to a whisper. But Mia's shadows stretched long, her probation reports trickling via network moles. Painting a portrait of unraveling, mandatory check-ins laced with paranoia. The kid acting out in preschool with ghost drawings that chilled the aunt's text to me. I'd become the secret aunt. Wire transfers for Legos and therapy. Anonymous cards on birthdays signed, a friend in the fight. Controversial entanglement. Threading her blood back to mine. But severing felt like orphaning my own echo. Work ramped to fever, a class action suit against a Windsor casino syndicate. Ex-Vanguard tentacles reaching cross-border. I led the deposition prep, coaching immigrant plaintiffs through legalese in a community center smelling of Pyrrhus and resolve. Their stories mirrored mine, homes raised for slots. Lives gambled away by suits in ivory towers. You understand betrayal, one grandma said. Grip like wrought iron. Understand? It fueled me. Late nights poring over manifests. The loft a war room of takeout boxes and highlighters. The fixer tagged along for muscle. His banter a bomb. You're building an army? Whitaker. Dad'd be proud. Proud? Or pissed at the mutiny. Decision 6 go public. The book deal resurrected. Co-authored with the journalist, now boyfriend. Label sticky as Michigan mud. Echoes of theft, a Whitaker reckoning. Pitched as memoir meets manifesto. Raw on the betrayal. The switch. The moral quagmire. Publisher bites from Knopf. Advance enough for a down payment on the loft. Signing party at a book beat reading. Corktown hipsters mingling with activists. Toasts clinking like fragile truces. Readings drew crowds. Me on stage at literati. Voice steady. Unpacking the skim as youth's dumb tax. Me as amp as ambition's venom. Q&A sparked fires. Was revenge cathartic or corrosive? A student probed.
Both.
I admitted. Debatable as democracy. Pushback hit hard. Dad's old cronies lawyered up. Defamation suits stacking like cordwood, claiming the implant slander. My leaks corporate sabotage. Court dates blurred into a gauntlet. Me in off-rack suits facing sharks and Brioni. The judge, a no-nonsense Chaldean from Dearborn, dismissed most. But one stuck. Invasion of privacy on Mia's affair docs. Mediation in a glass-box conference room. Her across the table. Probation anklet glinting. Kid doodling in the corner. Settle, her counsel urged. I countered. Retract the plea. Full truth on the stand. She nodded. Eyes weary. For Eli. The twist's mercy arc. Her accepting the fall. Me lifting the boot. Spring bloomed defiant. Cherry blossoms dusting the riverwalk as the book dropped. Climbing Times Indies lists amid controversy. Fox calling it woke witch hunt. NPR Heartland horror. Tours pulled me coast to coast. NYC panels with Snowden types. LA pitch meetings for a true crime adaptation. HBO passed. Too taboo. In Austin. South by Southwest slot turned viral. Me debating ethics profs on neural justice, clips racking millions. Debates raging in Reddit threads. Selena's hero or hypocrite? The echo amplified. My fight nationalized. But homefront frayed. The boyfriend bailed mid-tour. Loved the storm. Not the hurricane. Left a note and his key. Heartbreak's old hat. But it hollowed. Nights in hotel bars, nursing Manhattans. Flirting with strangers to forget the port's itch. Mia called collect from a halfway house. Voice cracked. Eli asks for you. The dreams he sees us switching. The kids glitch. Blood calling. Decision 7. Claim kinship. Drove to Akron under dogwood skies. Ants double-wide a time capsule of faded Reagan stickers. Eli ran to me, arms wide. Anti-ghost. We built forts from couch cushions. Me spinning sanitized tales of magic mirrors and brave fights. Ant watched wary, but softened over Folgers. Girl needs family. Don't break him. Summer sizzled back. The suit settling out of court. Retractions for peace. My silence on their skeletons. Network evolved a pack. Echo Alliance. Lobbying for neural reg. Me board chair in shadows. Winds stacked. Michigan bill banning identity tech in civvy hands. Feds probing DARPA holdovers. But the threats morphed not fists, but hacks. Book drafts leaked with fabricated chapters. Me confessing to implant sabotage. Traced to a Silicon Valley VC. Dad's poker buddy. Betting on swap tech for billionaires. Climax Redux. Infiltrated his Palo Alto gala. Black tie amid redwoods. Posing as Euro investor with forged creds. Charmed the mark slick. Theranos vibe over caviar bumps. Coaxing confessions on tape. Whitaker's kid killed the golden goose. Slip the file to ProPublica. Story breaking like dawn. Soul traders. The billionaire body swap scam. Fallout. Raids. Suicides. The VC's empire ash.
Me?
Ghosted out on a red eye. Landing in Detroit to Eli's birthday bash. Cake smeared. Laughter real. Fall's harvest brought harvest of doubts. Book's sequel pitched. But I demurred enough echoes. Mia paroled early. Good behavior. Us co-parenting via Zoom. Eli's bridge. Fight together? She emailed.
Together?
The betrayal's scar tissue. Flexible now. Dad's grave visited. Weeds pulled. A six-pack left. You taught wrong. But fought right. The warning echoes soft. Live if you can fight. I can smarter. Scarred. The twist reversed not to ruin, but rebirth. America argues my arc in bars and ballots. I live it. One echo at a time. The year wheeled to close on a crystalline December eve. Detroit's skyline a jagged crown under aurora-veiled skies. The people mover humming like a mechanical heartbeat. 10 months since the book storm. And equilibrium settled uneasy, a tightrope walk over the abyss of what-ifs. The loft felt lived in now. Walls lined with Eli's finger paintings and framed free press clippings. The port scar a faint crescent under high-neck sweaters. Echo Alliance hummed from a shared WeWork in Midtown. Petitions circulating for federal neural bans. My signature, a quiet thunder. Mia's reintegration was masterclass in uneasy truces, supervised visits at the Detroit Zoo. Us tag-teaming PDA politics over bad coffee. Her Ohio twang softening edges as she clerked at a legal aid clinic, irony's gift. Eli thrived. A whirlwind of questions. Auntie, why do mirrors lie? We'd deflect with ice cream cones, but his dreams mirrored ours, switches in sleep. Waking tantrums that tugged heartstrings like puppet wires. Therapy for him. Family sessions for us. Shrinks unpacking the blood bond. The betrayal as shared trauma. Controversial healing. Ex-thieves playing moms. But it stuck, Eli's giggle the glue. Work waned to selective. Auditing a green co-op in southwest Detroit. Battling gentrifiers flipping Ticarius to vape shops. Winds tasted sweeter sans vengeance's bile, residents housed, blocks blooming murals over boarded windows. The fixer retired to Florida, leaving a brass knuckle keychain. Fight clean? Whitaker.
Clean?
As Midwest snow. Maybe. Decision 8. The gutsiest. Testify before Congress.
D.C.
Summons via alliance poll. The hearing room in Rayburn. Marble halls echoing power plays. Me at the witness table in pearl gray. Voice amplified for C-SPAN feeds. America's body is for sale. I testified. Unpacking implant horrors. Trials on the marginalized. Swaps for the elite sins. Senators grilled. Cruz sneering, voodoo hysteria. Warren nodding, corporate cannibalism. Clips went viral. Debates igniting from Fox town halls. Whitaker Witch Hunt 2.0 to TikTok rants by Gen Z ethicists. Debatable spotlight. My face memed as soul sister, but the bill passed subcommittee. A Kraken machine. Homecoming was chaos. Airport pickup by Mia and Eli. Balloons bobbing in the Prius. Diner stop at Leo's for Coney specials. Proud, she asked, passing ketchup. Proud? Of the truce. The twist tamed. Eli chattered nonstop. My echo in miniature. Green eyes sparking debates on dinosaurs versus dragons. Nights post-hearing. Boyfriend 2.0 emerged, a urban planner from the co-op. Steady hands and a smile like spring thaw. Debating zoning over homebrew. You're the fight I want to join, he said. And for once, I believed in teams. Winter solstice brought the rites anniversary. Me at the lake house ruins, foreclosed but mine in memory, locket unearthed from attic storage. Winds whipped white caps. Dad's ashes long scattered. But his warning a compass. Live here only, if you can fight. I smashed it on the dock. Shards glinting like stars. The curse's chain snapped. No echo that night. Just silence, profound as fresh snow. Spring's promise dawned with Eli's first sleepover. Us tag-teaming bedtime stories in the loft. Mia crashing on the couch. Laughter echoed. Betrayals buried under pillow forts. The book sequel? Scrapped for a kid's primer on brave choices. Eli's illustrations crude but true. Alliance grew national. Chapters in Cheetown and Philly. My role mentor, fighting from the wings. Summer road trip sealed it. Us three to Niagara. Kitsch Falls roaring like catharsis. Eli splashing in shallows. Mia and me sharing a bench. Shoulders brushing. Twists over, she said. Over? Evolving. The reversal not ruin but remix. Our crimes co-owned. Redemption collective. Dad's ghost nodded.
Perhaps.
Fall's foliage framed the wedding mine. Small affair at Belle Isle Conservancy. Boyfriend vows exchanged under oaks. Eli ringbearer in tiny tucks. Mia maid of honor. Toast dry. To fights won. And the ones worth losing. Guests debated our tale in whispers. Felon family. Cursed survivors, but cheers drowned out. The ending? No tidy bow. Just life's messy weave. Happy in the debatable. Tragic if you squint at scars. America argues, redemption real. Or revenge rebranded. I live it. Fighting fairer. The warning wisdom. Only if you can. And damn. Weekend bloodbound. Echo free. The American grit unbroken.